right, y'all. So today I wanted to do a reaction video with the Diddy apology video. Now, I've already seen it, but I wanted to watch it with you and really just share my thoughts play by play. So there will be some pausing going on, but let's check out this video together.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you got to do that. I was f***ed up. I hit rock bottom.
You did. You definitely hit rock bottom. But one thing that a lot of people noticed in this, I was listening to some body language experts. Some people were saying that he was blinking a lot. I don't know what all that per se means, but they took that kind of as maybe a sign of being disingenuous, and also how he seemed to be, just in terms of what he was saying, he was trying to separate himself from 8 years ago, almost like that's not him, that's a different person. And when you think about it that way, it's almost like he still doesn't want to acknowledge that this was actually him. This was actually his behavior. He attacked Cassie. It's like he just wants to kind of still separate himself from that. And a lot of people took his initial statement that way.
I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable.
Now, look, him saying his behavior in that video is inexcusable and he makes no excuses. Look, that sounds great. It sounds wonderful. But let's keep it real. He's talking like this is some type of isolated incident, whereas a lot of people, or quite a few people, have come forward and said this has been repeated behavior from him, including Cassie. Cassie in her lawsuit spoke on many different situations where he attacked her. And then you had his bodyguard just recently, as one of his former bodyguards recently speak on him attacking perhaps Kim. And then another bodyguard has mentioned he may have even attacked Misa at one point. In fact, Misa just came out with a statement stating that she she was triggered by Cassie's story because she too has experienced similar situations. Now, she didn't necessarily say it was from Diddy, but she implied it. And so you have this connected to you or attached to you. So to me, if you're going to come with an apology, what we say, come correct, lay it all out. Let us know that you indeed have an issue and you are truly working on it. You got to come all the way with it. Don't speak to me like this was the only time that this has happened, because allegedly that is not the case. And so if you're not going to come with it all, then don't come at all.
I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now.
Again, making it seem like it was just this one time and looking to the side. It just comes off like he's acting, like he just got off a cruise ship and stopped at Coco Cay in the Bahamas and was eating some mozzarella sticks and is apologizing for eating all the mozzarella sticks. Like, what is the real deal here? What is really happening? And I don't know. I'm just not getting any type of realness from this apology.
I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace.
Look at him looking towards God. I mean, look, we should all look towards God, but again, it just seems disingenuous, and it sounds like he's trying to tell us what he thinks we want to hear, saying he went to rehab, he got therapy. First of all, when I first heard this and I heard him say he went to rehab, all I was thinking was, did you not just get stopped by the feds when you were on your private jet along with your alleged mule, which, your DRUG mule, I can't say the word here on YouTube, but your DRUG mule? He got stopped. He got arrested. He has pleaded guilty for having illegal substances on him while he was traveling with you. So if you are saying that you have been through this rehab situation, and I get it, addiction is hard. It can take years for people to get over their addictions, and sometimes they relapse. But shouldn't you be more with your counselor perhaps and not with your DRUG mule, someone who may be supplying you with something that could cause you to relapse? I mean, that doesn't make sense. You shouldn't be hanging with someone who has admitted to having illegal substances on them if you, in fact, are this changed man and you've been through rehab. That was my first thought when he said that. And to the point of therapy, look, therapy is a good thing. Many people should pursue therapy, but I'm hearing from experts who have dealt with men and women who have attacked others. They're saying it's really not therapy they need. That may be some of what they need, but what they need for the most part is a program that helps them with their anger management. That is what you really need. So maybe you should have said that, Diddy. Maybe you should have said, I've gone through some anger management programs. But again, I just feel like you're trying to tell us what we want to hear.
I'm so sorry.
Who you sorry for?
I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
And scene. Look, what many people noticed was he never mentioned, like he said, I'm sorry, I'm truly sorry. Like he's trying to say he's sorry to the public. And look, we get it. You know, you have fans, you want to come clean to them. But like I said, I really don't think you've fully come clean to your fans even. But you really don't owe us all the way an apology. You really owe your victim, Cassie, an apology. And a lot of people were wondering why he did not mention her. Now, I am a lawyer. I'm not a criminal lawyer, but I am a lawyer. So I did kind of put my legal hat on with that. I did have a feeling that he probably is not allowed to really ever publicly mention her name again. And that was really my thought as to maybe why he did not mention her during this apology. And it turns out that may in fact be the case. He's not allowed to really ever, I guess, address her publicly. And maybe she too is not supposed to address him. Maybe that's a part of their settlement agreement. But I still feel, Diddy, you could have still address other victims of DV, other women or men who have experienced this, even if you could not have mentioned Cassie specifically, or you could have tried to, you're creative, you're a producer, you could have said something in a more creative way to still try to include her in this, because many people are upset that she was not included in this apology. But I will say that I could understand why Cassie may not want Diddy to mention her name, like or just on the other end, because some of you may recall when he received his award from, I believe, the BET Awards, he gave a speech where he was thanking a lot of different people. And he took a moment to thank Cassie during his speech. And I remember thinking even then, before all of this came out, how odd that was, because Cassie by that time had broken up with him, had moved on, had gotten married, had children. She doesn't want to hear from her ex publicly mentioning her, saying that she held him down during the dark times, when it seems like he is the one that was holding her down, literally causing dark times. So that probably was triggering for her, probably was triggering for her husband. And I felt like he probably has done that a few times, and it's I feel a way for him to still have some type of odd control over her and play mind games with her. Because even with the song, something Gotta Move On, I believe that was one of his songs. I feel like that was again addressed towards Cassie, and it's just it's creepy, and maybe that is part of also why she may not want him to ever address her publicly. But I have to say, him doing this apology, again, thinking about this legally, I'm shocked that he actually did this apology, because he literally admitted to attacking Cassie, even though we all saw it and we all pretty much assumed that it was him. But for him to literally go on camera and admit that that was in fact him on camera, when it comes to the legal stuff, because he still is being investigated by the feds, I mean, this is something they could definitely, I feel, use. In fact, I was listening to Al Reynolds and his show, I believe, Court of Public Opinion, with his co-hosts, lawyers Simone Redwine and Brion Ross. Brion Ross made a great point that, yes, the LADA cannot press charges because the statute of limitations has run out. We all know about that story. Because many people are wondering, why has he not been arrested, or why can't he be arrested and charged? But again, there still is this federal investigation that's happening. And Brion Ross on the Court of Public Opinion with Al Reynolds, he made a good point that maybe the feds can look at this video and really create a structure or create a list of crimes that they see that they could ultimately charge him with. And one that he felt Diddy could be charged with is forced labor, which is under, believe, Section 18 USC Section 1581. Forced labor, where you're forcing someone to it pretty much into involuntary servitude. Cassie worked for Diddy, even though they were dating. She worked for him, and he was forcing her to stay with him and to pretty much not leave that hotel and do things that she did not want to do. And as long as, I'll leave the link below of Brion explaining this, but he said that as long as some type of forced debt that needs to be paid can be proven, then there may be a case there. And the debt she would have for him is, she owed him like 9 more albums or something. She worked for him and he was forcing her to do things against her will. That's clear. And also, of course, the trafficking. So, the feds could potentially still use that case against Diddy. So all may not be lost when it comes to that particular video. But I have to say, Diddy, what is the saying? Pride goeth before the fall. And I have to say that Diddy doing this video, again, I don't know who advised him to do that, because it really was not smart, because it really could be used against him in the long run. And so you just wonder, I was listening to one of his former lawyers, Mark Garagos, and he says Diddy is a headstrong dude because he too probably would not have advised him to do that particular video, admitting to committing a crime, in other words. So, this will absolutely be used in some type of court, whether it be civilly or criminally, probably. So he said this is not something he would have done, but Diddy, again, is kind of headstrong. So this may have been something he just wanted to do off the cuff, thinking this would help his image in some kind of way, because clearly he has a strong team of lawyers, and I just could not see them advising him not only to do this apology video, but to do it the way he did it. It wasn't good. In fact, I kind of liken it to Nicky Barnes. I call it almost like Diddy Nicky Barnes himself. For those of you who may not know, Nicky Barnes is a former pusher man. Again, I have to be careful with my words on YouTube, but a pusher man from the 70s. And he ended up getting life in prison after many years of always avoiding getting convicted. He was called Mr. Untouchable. He was obviously dealing around New York and other places, but he just never could get caught, never could get convicted. And so at one point, the New Yorker wanted to do an article on him, pretty much addressing how he is, quote, Mr. Untouchable. And they called him and his attorney to do a cover story. And they wanted him to come in and actually take a photo for the cover of the New Yorker. And initially they said no, because obviously he didn't want that kind of attention on him. But the New Yorker guy said, well, if you don't do it, then I'm going to put your mugshot on the cover and people will think you ate somebody for lunch. So with that, he ended up doing it, putting on what he thought was his best suit and a tie that looked like the American flag. He thought this would make him look good to the public, but instead, the president at the time, Jimmy Carter, saw the cover story called the DOJ, Department of Justice, and said pretty much, we need to make sure we get this guy, convict him. And so he pretty much, he had all this pride, had all this arrogance, thinking he could pretty much avoid the law, continue to avoid the law. But it turned out to be his biggest mistake, thinking he could pretty much talk his way or continue to talk his way out of trouble. And in many ways, that's Diddy, the whole na, come and get me, thinking I can talk my way out of things. Because Diddy in many ways has been Mr. Untouchable. I mean, he's had issues since the 90s with the law, and he's avoided pretty much ever being convicted. We remember the club issue. We remember him beating up an executive and allegedly attacking, well, not allegedly with Cassie, but allegedly even with other women, attacking them. So he has avoided ever really being convicted or charged with anything. So yeah, he may have just Nicky Barnes himself, because no doubt the feds are watching. But share your thoughts below. Did you like this particular apology video from Diddy? Did you buy it? Seems like many people did not, but definitely leave your thoughts below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm Stacey Brewer, and this is H Blues Word. Peace.